morning. It's a little chilly in here, so I'm going to get us in, and I'm going to get all of your information out, and then we'll go to lunch. If you could do me a huge favor and take out the packet, and I'd like to first start with, right after the presentation that was just given to you, right after that, there were a couple papers that looked like it starts with artistic processes. Unfortunately, Matt could not be here for doing the technology and the composition standard. Our goal in the advocacy group was to give you the same Google slides, so you're not missing anything if you were to be part of that presentation. Our point is to make sure that when you go to read the standards, it is not so overwhelming. It is not all encompassing, and for you to understand that you're already doing everything that's in there. Our guide is to give you the tools on how to read it, so that when you have to write your SLOs and you have to do your evaluations, you can easily refer to the documents, fill out information, and then continue moving on with your teaching and not feel overwhelmed. So that's really what this is all about, is how to read the standards as a whole. Thank you. Yeah, can you close the door so that I'm not bothering Scarlett?
So too dark.
No, I'm okay. Can everybody else?
That's good. No, it's good.
Well, you kind of like Twilight Zone. Are we all good? Okay. So first off, we used to have the music GSE, it's a grade span expectations. And how many of you understood the grade span expectation and were able to use it? Okay, good. Well done. All right, so I agree with you. I got the GSEs and I said, well, that was nice, and I put it down. And then I took the national standards, the 9 of them, and I posted them on my wall, and I said, I understand that, and I'm going to follow that. But as we had to fill out paperwork, we had to put in the GSEs. So now the GSEs have been changed over to the NCAS. So we're going to be now switching it, but I want to start by just showing you the overview of the GSEs and then how we've changed it. So the GSEs were the MU1, MU2, MU3, MU4, the artistic processes, cultural context, communication, aesthetic judgment. Those were the 4 main areas, and then they had breakout spots. One part I had trouble with was in 7th grade, MU, I believe it was MU2. Oh, I keep saying that so quickly.
Settings.
Yeah, if I don't touch it, all of a sudden it goes. MU2 in 7th grade at one point would say, students should know what a diatonic meter and 75878, and I thought, oh, I have to look that up. That's not okay. And I said, I can't do that to my students, I'm sorry. So that's why I just said I will just use the national standards. So they took the GSEs, and they are still at Summit Ride that really believe in it, that were on the Board of Ed, but now they're starting to switch and to see that those were not feasible, they're not going to be usable. So we took them, and we now are comparing the national standards, and we're making a connection between the 9 national standards and now what the NCAS are. And I was on the review board for the NCAS, the National Core Art Standards, in order to understand the 3 main artistic processes: process components, enduring understandings, and essential questions. Those are the 3 main parts of the standards that are important. The other words that are within the novice, and you'll see in a minute, the novice, the intermediate, the accomplished, which they showed you, where the different levels that at least the high school students should be at, those levels are important when you need to hone in on what your students should be learning. But the main part are the artistic processes. So moving, oh my gosh, this is going to be annoying. How am I getting out of this? See, this isn't mine. Does anyone know how to fix the settings for that?
The settings?
Yeah.
Yeah, just so your screen display doesn't go. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not a Mac person, so I don't know the Mac thing, but.
Is it the screensaver that's coming up,
Yeah.
or is it going?
Well,
No.
it seems like the monitor just keeps going to sleep.
Don't sleep.
Display, yeah. Click on display.
I talked to my dog too. There's a picture of my dog in the back, by the way. Does anybody do this?
Yeah.
Anybody
Can you do that for us, please?
Yeah, there you go.
Because mine at school, I have it where it just stays.
She's not an idiot, it's the computer.
I'm slow.
There is a screensaver spell.
Yeah. We all learning something new here?
Start after 20 minutes.
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
it's under energy saver.
Energy saver.
Energy's
Go
good,
to
yeah,
energy
yeah, it might be
saver.
that.
Where are we, Dina?
The light bulb.
Light bulb.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Oh.
sleep, see, it's going to sleep too fast.
No, don't go sleep. Display sleep. Put it up to an hour so I can just, yeah, I can turn my show in. Yeah, thank you. Aw, that's why you're the president. That's where you put it. Oh. Well done, well done.
Well, we'll
See,
see
now
if it
that was a
sticks.
technological point. Did everybody understand that? That was your technology. Oh, really? Rob, really? All right, well, I'm just gonna keep pressing buttons. Here it goes, this is a fast version. So, here's the GSE components as they are. And as what we were thinking of when we were talking about it and creating these Google slides, were that, think of it as a building. And the foundation, first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, and how you're moving up the floors. How many of you, I'm a middle school band director, how many of you have clusters or pods where they have 4 groups, the English, math, science, the social studies all together?
Teams.
Teams. We have teams and we also call them clusters. So as I'm continuing on, it's gonna be like in a cluster form in a way of how they're all working together. Of course, the same component is to make sure the student is successful. So we thought of it as a building, of how you're building up into your buildings themselves. And then how the processes work. So each GSE is going into a new NCAS. What used to be MU3, communications, is now responding. And what used to be aesthetic judgment is now connecting. So when you're looking at your standards, you will see how they all come in together. These are all strands. Strands, they all intertwine together within your standards themselves. So and I will show you in a minute. So creating was the first one that, as far as the standards were concerned, and they said anchor standard, and Scott Schuler said, or it was Scott, or I think, he said don't worry about the anchored standard. So don't focus on that. You're actually going to be focusing more on the enduring understanding and the questions, the essential questions. Those are the 2 main things you're going to be looking at. But when they first created these standards, they had anchor standards, so that it can go against music together. Music, theater, art, and dance were all speaking together of the same thing. So it's generating, conceptualizing artistic ideas and work, organizing, developing them, and refining and completing. That's the 3 main creating parts. So when you're looking at a cluster or a team, you start with imagine, which goes with the essential question of how do musicians generate ideas, into planning and making. So now you've got this creative idea. Now what are they going to do to continue on with their decisions? Which moves on to evaluating. Now they've made these decisions, they've made some kind of a product, now they've got to evaluate what they've created. And then they present it. Just like a whole big cluster together. The next strand they have is performing, with the anchor statement of analyze, interpret, select. The next anchor statement, develop, refine. And then the last is conveying meaning through presentation. Oh my gosh, you're really being annoying now. So we took out the dance and art, and just so that you could see that performing music, I know many of us in Ensemble, our goal is to get to that concert, but nobody sees how we get to that concert. So your job is, as they're getting to that concert, students are actually understanding the terms we're giving, understanding the music they're playing. And they're able to say back to you, like I've just, for example, said to my students, here are some musical terms, and then I threw some music on the board, and I had ties and slurs. And I would say to a student, is this a tie or a slur? And they're like, slur. And I say, why? Because they're 2 different pitches. Then I go on to the next rhythm. Is this a tie or a slur? And they go, it's a tie. I go, why? Because they're the same. And this is 7th grade, and it may seem so simple, but they're actually now hearing the words. Mm-hmm. And so when they see the music, they can go, tie, slur, but it's getting in there. So we're understanding that the concert's the last thing to perform. How do we get there? That's what many of these steps are in your cluster. So you're selecting your music, which they were talking about, and to me, performance is, when I show you an example from the standard that I'm gonna show you, I focused on performance, because we are ensemble-based, some of us, as well as doing general music and saving lives and creating social connections and everything else you're doing, social workers.
Yes.
You are an ensemble teacher. So you select your music, you analyze it with the students. I have my students in 7th and 8th grade analyzing their music with me, so that we're both doing it together. Then we're rehearsing, we're evaluating, we're refining, so how, and teaching, asking them, how do you think we should improve our quality? How do you think we're gonna get better? Into presenting, which is the concert itself. All of these are going to be posted on the review website, so don't worry, they're gonna be there. Responding is the third part of our connecting, and it's understanding and evaluating how the arts convey, perceiving and analyzing work, interpreting and understanding the meaning of the work, and then applying criteria to evaluate. There's where your rubrics are concerned. That's where the end result for that is part of your lesson. So when we look at the cluster, how does this all come together? First, you're selecting whatever it is, and the essential question is important. How do individuals choose music to experience? Why is that student wanting to be learning about country while this one's wanting to learn about hip hop? Well, they're both gonna learn about it. They have no choice, they're in a class together, but they both have to appreciate it. But I usually look at my students and I say, well, what would you like to learn? Now let me show you another component of something you probably never even thought you'd want to learn about. So the question, first question is, how do individuals choose music to experience? Then analyze, how does understanding the structure, and I always love to say to my students, that, oh, this is now not working. Why is this not working? Rob. So I always say to my students, everything starts with Beatles. Get ready. And then they look at me and I say, well, you want to do about, or I want to talk about gospel music, that's great, let's start with Elvis. And let's go on from there. Okay, can we hold off for 1 second? Can you hold that for a second? Because this is really not, if this is going to keep doing it, I
Do
don't
you want me
want.
to go get Rob and see if he can come in and?
Yeah, I don't
it's-
know why.
It's not the computer, it's the
Is it bad?
connection.
Is it too hot?
I don't know what it is, but it's not the computer.
It's the projector, you think?
Is it the project? Can
Oh.
somebody?
Or the cable, it could be the cable.
Because mine never does, school does not do this.
I mean, this is not
No, it's
uncommon.
Oh, this isn't?
Oh.
No, I probably should have said that too.
Yeah, Jacob, I did up in elementary school, by the way, I just wanted to say.
Or?
I mean, I think it's in general, these aren't particularly high
Yeah,
functioning.
it's the connection, I don't know. What do you
I'm
connect?
connected to that. No idea.
Usually.
Usually, and I brought my own with me because I was afraid something like, I don't like when I don't have used to the technology.
Right.
You know, so I have my own with me. All right, we're just gonna, but I feel bad because this is videotaping for people to watch later, so, yeah, awesome.
That's okay. We'll do the best we can.
Okay, so you just, here we go.
It'll be a much more realistic experience for them.
Yeah, so this is what you missed, me going, what? No, all right. Okay, are we ready again, or we're still filming, aren't we?
Yeah,
So the essential question, we analyze, you interpret, and you evaluate. And really, my students had to we did their concert, and I said to them, all right, I'd like you to tell me, here's some questions about your performance. And boy, did I get some answers, because we had a couple of difficulties within our performances, and they were harder on themselves than I was. At the end, I thought, we did it, we made it. And they're like, but, I'm like, don't talk. You got it, you know? And so they had to evaluate. And when I was reading the reflections, I looked at them, I'm like, you all got 100. And they're like, we did. I'm like, yeah, you made it to the end. You did it. You worked really hard, and you survived. And you're in 7th and 8th grade, and I'm so proud of you. And that was all they needed. But when they evaluated, then they started picking apart. Hey, I didn't hear this section too well, or or the percussion was too loud. And I'm thinking, yeah, and you're in the flute, so how could you not? We're all going to hear the percussion. Like, we got that. But then there was one kid who said, the saxophone kid next to me's played so well. I was like, wow, you know, and so in the middle of us running around, we don't get to see the things that they did. And it was really cool to see. So their response, and that's why I see responding, their response, not how I'm responding to them, how are they responding to me, I think is most important. Then you're connecting, this is where you're putting everything together, both external and internal. How are they making a personal connection to their music, and how is it affecting them personally? And when I'm going to show you the shortcut I made for you for the ensemble, because the original standards is fairly large in the documentation. This kind of pops on and off a lot. I don't know, Rob,
Yeah, I just got a text, thank you, Allison.
Yeah, I don't know if it pops on and off a lot, and I don't know why.
Because, you know, we're a state unsupported school. We do the best, I don't know.
Oh, that's an answer. All right,
Yeah.
got you. That's usually the answer I
You
give.
sure it's not like the karma in the room saying, no, we just wanna listen to you, we don't wanna look at that. Or not,
Okay,
okay.
or not.
I'll make.
No, it's fine, I'm just gonna keep going, I just wanna, because with the video that's gonna be shown,
Okay.
and, you know.
Maybe you could just
Sassy.
redo the video, in your spare time.
I think I better leave
No,
now.
can we wear my Princess
Sorry.
Leia costume?
So that you feel better about it.
You could put the,
You'll have one.
PowerPoint.
The PowerPoint will be on,
Yeah.
it'll be on, yeah.
There
This
you
is
go.
all good, and all the slides, they are, again, the same on all the disciplines. I just added my little component. So this is the same on everything, what Scarlett and myself are saying. So the ending, the connecting, which is very large and I didn't put into the shortcut version, is synthesize and relate. When it gets to that point, you're gonna have to refer to the original standards document. I didn't feel like it was too much information, and you're already doing it. Congratulations, you're already achieving all of this. This is just justifying the hard work you are already doing. So you should really be proud of yourselves as it is. This is the fluff to make you look like you're already doing it. Really else is. So when I say the music ensemble, I took analyze, and before this turns off, I will ask you to turn to these. I created these for your classroom. These are wall hangings, so when you get a chance to, you can probably photocopy them. You can make them your own. It's all up to you. But when you put it into the packet, it's front and back. But we had this, actually Scarlett has it, and now I do too. And it's almost like we just put the 4 wall hangings. So you can see the 4 different concepts that go to each one. Just as a reminder for yourself, and maybe for your students to look at as well, so they understand. And so when I created, this is the artistic processes, the 4 main ones that I just went over, and then each one, just the different components that go to each. So when you get home and you can have a chance to take out the staple, photocopy them and stick them on your wall. And then you're all set. You don't have to recreate them if you don't want to. So those are the 4 main ones. Then I'd like you, if you could please, turn, it's after the general music K through 8. Is the standards, music standards ensemble. This is a cheat sheet, just like this, for you. And I'd like you to please find anchor, well, it doesn't say on the anchor statement, but your analyze, which is the next page, yeah, here it is. The next page, analyze, NUPR 4.2. 4.2, that's what I'm focusing on just for today, just so you can see. What this is actually just 1.5 pages front and back, honestly. And I'm going to also put these on the website as well, so you can electronically pull them up, copy and paste them right into your SLO. So you don't have to redo it, nothing's being redone. But this shortcut, the ensemble original standards, the ensemble one is 9 pages long. The K through 8 is 16, so when you see Scarlett, give her a hug. She went through 16 pages. I went through 9 for the ensemble, and I believe 8 for the guitar, and Matt did composition and technology, and his were 8 pages each. So this is really your shortcut to refer to. Unfortunately, I decided to, when it came to the bottom for connecting, the 2 last connecting ones, and I said refer to the full standards document. That's because there is a lot of information, so to shorten it would not be a good idea. So an essential question for analyze, how does understanding the structure and context of musical works inform in performance, and how do performers interpret musical works? That's the essential question. That's what you're trying to figure out. Now, I'm teaching middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and in my mind, I was so busy working on note reading and musical terms, and you're gonna find the standards are not gonna be specific. They're not gonna say, okay, you're teaching at 7th grade, 16th, or 8th notes or 16th notes. They're not specific. The whole point of these standards is to be as broad and as vague as possible so you can intertwine the strands into your lesson, which you're already doing. And then the objective statement on my SLO was students will recognize, define, and apply their knowledge of the following musical elements to improve their ability to accurately understand, and perform their part in their musical group. AKA, they're gonna understand unison, harmony, time signature, dynamics, tempo. And then I put down there just a little bit, articulation, there's a compositor in there, a form and range. This is so I can be a little more specific. I want them to learn dynamics, tempo, that kind of stuff. But this is almost like so vague and broad, it can be interpreted any way you want. So that's what these standards are. They're interpretation of what you're already doing. And this is what it looks like on the document when you see it electronically. You'll see that this is the GSE area, and all the arts are all arts. Dance, theater, art, and music are all doing the same. We're doing this. We all made cheat sheets for all the disciplines. I'm on the advocacy team for Rhode Island, and I'm your advocacy leadership force person who talks about policies throughout the United States. And so a lot of the states are doing this. Our state is specifically gotten together, and visual arts has done one for their department. Our team did it for music, and dance and theater are doing it for theirs. We're doing cheat sheets, the same exact columns, the same exact way. So everybody's doing the same thing. So we started with the GSE side, and then how it changed over to the NCAS. The main word, analyze, and then we put in a little bit of a, what does analyze mean, or what are they analyzing? They're analyzing the structure and content of varied musical works and their implications for performance. So these are where you're gonna find on the main document, that's not, when they've got field copy, it's a little questionable. You'll see, if you use this GSE, now use this NCAS, the process component, the anchor standard, the enduring understandard, the essential question, and then the levels. I broke down the ensemble for levels, I shortened it up for you, and I took out all the extra words. There are a lot of extra words. And I just put in just the specific words. So this NOV is novice, INT is intermediate, POF is proficient, ACC is accomplished, and ADV is advanced. So we're if you're high school, accomplished and advanced is where, advanced are the kids that are going to college and are already at already all state level, they're going above and beyond. Accomplished would be high school. Proficient, you're going from middle school to high school. Intermediate is middle school, and novice would beginner band students. It's broken down. I broke it down because it was just 5A, 8A, and I just didn't feel like there were just too many words for you. And I'll show you what the original standard looks like. I don't know if I put it in here. Let me pull it up for you. This is what it looks like. So all I did was I analyzed this one, and I broke it down into columns for you. So I felt like there was a lot here. And all I did was I took out a lot of the words that are italicized, or they are bold-faced, and put them into those boxes. And then here's the novice, intermediate, proficient, accomplished, and advanced. Those are the different levels. And when you are reading it, and if this, as I say to my students, there's 5 ways to teach anything. Not one way is gonna work, because I was the student where I took the 5th way to finally get it. I was the kid who always looked at you like you had 5 heads and had no idea what was going on. So if this is easier for you to read, this is also, I already have the link for you. There's a link that's going to be on the RIMIA website. If this helps you, then by all means go for it. If you need this cheat sheet to help you to get to this, that's fine. But the cheat sheet or the shorter version for ensembles is only a page and a half. We put all of them into this packet just in case you happen to be teaching 3rd grade this year and next year. Oh, now you're the 8th grade band director. Oh, hey, what's up? You need to have everything in front of you to refer back to. Right. So this was what I was talking about. Here's your enduring understanding. Here is your essential question. And then these are the different levels that you're going to be looking at.
So, can I just ask a question?
Now, questions would be great at this point,
Okay.
yes.
So, I teach middle school.
Hold on, I'm gonna freeze that. There we go.
Oh, it hasn't done that since he came in, I don't know when he did.
It's magic.
It's just like my students, the main instrument's broken, I go, and it plays, and I'm like, Go ahead.
So if I teach middle school, I'm aiming at 8th grade, so I'm aiming for those intermediate as they exit,
It
how do I
depends.
use this?
Okay, here's my question. I have beginner 8th grade students. I have students who
Yeah.
started this year.
Sure.
All right, so I know
Okay.
this half is my goal is to get them to novice. That's my,
Okay.
and they're 8th grade, but that's my goal for them.
Okay.
This group right here has already been playing for a year. All right, so my goal is by the end that they're at intermediate. Because
Okay.
it all depends on what's in your classroom.
Okay.
There is no black and white, which I'm very black and white. There is no black and white. This is
Okay.
all gray and chartreuse and,
Right.
various confetti. So you have to gear this towards what's in front of your face.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with the way the evaluation works right now, this works great because you can tier your kids. So you can look at 15 kids in your class and you could say 2 are at novice, 3 are intermediate, 4 are proficient, et cetera. So that works really great the way this is, especially when you do an ensemble with so many levels.
And thank you for pointing that out, because you've got target rationales. So this is what I'm gonna let everybody know, that on Tuesday, and I just got the email yesterday, on Tuesday, there are at the Rhode Island Department of Ed, for the Board of Ed, is going to be voting to adopt these into Rhode Island for music educators, into their evaluation system. So you know how you press a button and things pull down? You don't really have anything right now, or you've got the GSEs and you're thinking, how am I using that? This will be the pull down. So you can pull it down, press it, and you're good to go. That was our goal, and I didn't say much about it, and I haven't said much about it on the website, because I have been waiting and waiting. It was supposed to be December, and then it got pushed because they started talking about charter schools, and now it's pushed to Tuesday. So some of us are going to be testifying to the Board of Ed, saying why this is so important. And one of the points is, I want this to be in our evaluation, so all I have to do is click, press down, and then I can tier my students. And I have something to hold on to that is legitimate. We can't move on past, with the bill that was passed, we can't move on until we have paper proof of what we're doing, even though you're already doing it. Yeah, you already are. This is just justifying what you're already doing. Yes?
So this, what's on the screen right now, these are the NCAS?
Yes, they are.
So, okay, that's good, because that's what I've been using for,
Excellent, and I'm glad, it would be good to know that the collegiate students are using this.
yeah.
Because this is this is it.
Mhm.
This is the form itself, like this is the NCAS. What I gave you is just a shorter version, so say you are in the middle of teaching and you need to get that SLO done. And it's, it's October 30th and it's due November 1st. And you're like, I just need something across here, and so this is just a shorter version of the main one. If this helps you, and this makes you feel better, and you understand it, then by all means, it will be on the RMU website, please use it. But if it's overwhelming, and you just need to look across, that's what we created for you to
Okay.
look across. It is in no way to say to you, this is how you say it, this is what you should do, this is just a helpful hit, that's all it is. Any other questions about standards or NCAS? We have a link for you.
You're frozen still.
I know. I'm afraid it's gonna turn blue, it's gonna annoy me. So I put in, and this again will be on the website for you to use. I mean, if you wanna write it in, you can, but when you click on it, it'll bring you right to the music standards, right to NAFME's website. So you don't have to go into NAFME and go looking for it, it'll be there. And our main, so all of our main slides again are the same, I just wanted to show you just the component of the ensemble. That was pretty much it. So when you click, boom, there it is. And I would like to see their assessments. They were saying that there were assessments to help you out with model work, and I haven't gotten to see that yet.
Somebody, was on that committee that I
Yes.
talked, remember?
Yes.
And so after I talked to him, I looked that up, and what is it called? Because we printed it out, and so that's where I had seen that stuff, and what they were saying was they were rubrics for performance on it. And, you know, what you're looking for, cause you know, and when I looked at it, I was like, wow, I'm always looking for all my students to be exemplary, which is great, but, you know, and so when I make my rubrics, that's always the top thing.
Mhm.
But they were saying, you know, proficient was, you know, maybe having a couple of lapses here and there because, or that was, you know, that was what the level was really clear for,
Or what they
you
were,
know,
what that
for
student was at, that
what the
level they're at.
novice was, what the intermediate, it was really clear.
It is.
That's
They
what
show-
they
so they
were,
were able to show
that's
that.
what they're working towards, and somebody said the name of it before, and it was, there's somebody, the guy, I forgot his
Can't
name.
remember
Was
his
it
name
the
either.
opportunity to learn standards?
No, it was the model, do you remember
Cornerstone.
Eric?
Model
Cornerstone
cornerstone assessment,
Cornerstone
thank you.
assessments, that's it. Yeah,
Thank you.
that was a really good thing to look up, and that's somewhere on here, the model cornerstone assessment.
Could that be one, can you write that down on his Post-it, and can we stick it on
Okay.
the questions, please?
Yeah, and
Because
we
that is a
have,
question I have.
we have, the guy, I don't know his name, I'm sorry, he works at Jacqueline Walsh, and he is one of the, pilot program, so he's actually doing it. And,
Yeah, I wanted to get a hold of him,
yeah,
I can't remember.
so now.
So if you write that, the
all right.
model corner assessment,
The website, I mean, if you haven't really dug in, there's quite a lot of information on all this. I believe it's under My Classroom up there, but some of it's not as easy to find. You know, I just learned a little bit this morning with going down to the bottom of that.
yeah.
The standards with the glossary and the resources.
See, here, when you go into My Classroom, there's so much, that lesson plan, but it gets so overwhelming. But there is a lot, so if
There's
you,
so much, yeah.
if you feel like there's something specific, like I'm looking for lesson plans,
Ready-made, yeah.
already
That
here.
already apply to the standards that you can search
Mhm.
under the topic or area that.
And then when some people put in what they've done, and I like that, I've added this to it, or I didn't agree, you know,
Yeah.
but it's very respectful. And, you know, that gets me very nervous if it's not, but they're monitoring it. So there are some really good helpful hints as you continue on.